Ayla turned her head and froze when she saw Varkas standing behind her. A faint blush spread across her face as she tried to call out to him, but Varkas only looked back with his usual unreadable expression. As he brushed his gray hair back, Ayla couldn't help thinking that anyone would become sensitive after dealing with Talia for 7 long years. Yet the fact that Talia still affected him so much irritated her more than she wanted to admit. Gathering her courage, Ayla told Varkas that she had been worried about him, not Talia. Varkas glanced at the priest and calmly reminded her that His Majesty had entrusted the child to both of them. If the ritual was performed without Talia and the Emperor found out, she could be reprimanded. Even so, he added, they couldn't drag someone to the altar against their will. His words only made Ayla more upset. She insisted that they should at least wait and see what Talia had to say. Talia was fickle after all. Perhaps she would change her mind by tomorrow. But Varkas remained firm. They would leave at dawn, and he had no intention of altering their schedule for the whims of the second princess. The priest remained completely unaware of the tension between them. Swallowing her frustration, Ayla forced herself to agree. Varkas then stated that he wished to spend the night quietly. Since they would be departing at dawn, the crown prince also needed proper rest. Using the excuse of escorting her back to her quarters, he led Ayla away. Rain poured heavily around them as they walked. Ayla asked whether something had happened the previous night. Varkas replied that nothing had happened that concerned Her Highness. She immediately saw through the LIEDSO something did happen. Varkas lowered his gaze and quickened his pace, leaving Ayla standing alone in the rain. She watched his retreating figure with a mixture of admiration, affection, and disappointment. Would there ever come a day when she would truly be reflected in Varkas's eyes? Lost in thought, Ayla didn't notice the deep puddle ahead. Suddenly, Varkas reached out his hand and warned her. When she hesitated, he simply lifted her into his arms. Ayla's face burned red. "Do you know how unfair you can be?" she whispered. Varkas said nothing. Ayla knew the truth all too well. The only reason he treated her kindly was because of the promise he had made to her mother. Nothing more, nothing less than a sense of duty. How cruel perhaps it would have been easier if he had never shown her kindness at all. Then she could have accepted a purely political relationship and nothing more. Resting her head against his chest, she remained silent until they finally reached her quarters. Varkas gently set her down and informed her that he would have warm bathwater prepared. He told her to stay warm and get some rest. But before he could leave, Ayla wrapped her arms around him and closed her eyes. At that exact moment, thunder cracked across the sky. Ayla opened her eyes and met the icy blue gaze of Talia. The blonde princess sat outside the window, silently watching them. For a brief second, Ayla thought she looked like an angel. Then Talia's expression twisted with rage. Without warning, she hurled a flower pot toward them. Varkas reacted instantly and shielded Ayla. The pot missed its target, but sharp fragments scratched across Varkas's face. Ayla's heart lurched in panic. Meanwhile, Varkas stood in furious silence. For the first time, genuine fear gripped Ayla's heart. It wasn't as though she had forgotten Talia's extraordinary beauty, her half-sister, whom she had always considered insignificant. Yet now, standing before her, Talia felt like the most ominous and threatening existence in the world. As though the evil spirit that had condemned Ayla's mother to a life of misery had returned to drag Ayla herself into the abyss. The rain finally stopped by dawn. Elsewhere, Talia walked silently through the corridor with a small knife hidden in her hand. Her expression was cold and determined. She stopped in front of Ayla's room. The scent of calming incense drifted through the air. A cruel smile appeared on Talia's lips. It seemed Ayla hadn't had an easy night either. Tears gathered in Talia's exhausted eyes as memories resurfaced. She remembered the day Varkas had carried her in his arms when she was little. To anyone else, it might have been insignificant, but to Talia, it was everything. Her most precious memory, the one memory she had treasured in secret for years. A memory she would revisit whenever she felt alone. And now Ayla had shattered it. Couldn't Ayla leave even one thing for her? Just one thing that belonged only to Talia and Varkas. Talia tightened her grip around the knife. If killing Ayla's meant becoming the evil witch history would remember forever, then so be it. She no longer cared. She had nothing left to lose. With a chilling resolve in her eyes, Talia reached for the door handle and slowly pushed the door open.